For someone who has done traditional art for most of their lives, digital art is kind of a mystery to me. Not only do you have to consider what devices you need to achieve a certain look, whether that's a normal pen tablet, or maybe something like an iPad or a tablet with a screen, there's plenty of options these days. Not just in the hardware front, there's also plenty of programs designed for artists of pretty much any skill level. Whether it's something rudimentary like MS Paint or something a lot more complex like Photoshop, there's something for everyone, and knowing what is the good deal or not can be a bit confusing. I know it was for me, so hopefully this video will help you out on that. I'm Ayasuna and I make videos, more specifically art videos, and today we are actually talking about art for once. I wanted to go for a chill sketchbook session video today, so no VTuber model. Regardless, I still wanted to make a video because I recently got my hands on Clip Studio Paint, and I'm trying that out for the first time here. Full disclaimer here, I'm no professional at digital art. I only recently took it more seriously, and I've been doing it on and off for around 2 years now, and there's still a lot I don't know. There is no right or wrong way to do digital art, and everyone still has their own workflow. I'm still trying to figure out what that is for digital art, so bear with me. As far as my background with art-adjacent software, I started off with MS Paint as a kid, but more recently I was using Krita because it was free. For those who don't know, Krita is an open-source art program. And like I said, it is free, so you don't really have to deal with any company meddling or your stuff being used for AI. As a drawing program, I think it covers most of the bases quite well, though if you're like me and you're starting to learn graphic design, I don't think that this is the best option. I think GIMP is a bit better, but that's for another video. Anyways, I already talked about how I felt about Krita in a previous video. I'll have that linked up at the top if you're interested. The reason why I stopped using Krita is that it completely lagged whenever I tried to record. It didn't matter if I was in Discord or I was trying to record with OBS, for some reason it would crash my computer. The issue isn't necessarily on my end. I updated my drivers, I updated Windows, and I still had the crashing issue whenever I tried to record something, so obviously if I wanted to make videos, that wasn't going to cut it. I knew I wanted to make more art content, so I decided to quote-unquote buy Photoshop, which I totally paid for, by the way. But I'm gonna be real, I'm not really impressed by Adobe's quote-unquote customer service, and again, they also had their scandals with AI, as I mentioned. I still think it's pretty whack to have artists and graphic designers use their stuff all the time, but them to not have rights to their own work that they created, it's just insane. I've heard that they walked this decision back, but I don't know how true it is. I think once trust is broken with Adobe, it's hard to get it back, and I'm sure I'm not the only artist that feels that way. Not to mention, back in the olden days, you could buy the software offhand one time only, but now if you want to get their constant updates, you have to get a subscription. Not only that, if you don't want the subscription anymore, it's almost impossible to cancel it. I know that Photoshop is the industry standard here, but I'm damn sure gonna call them out whenever I can. Their business model definitely wouldn't exist if they weren't trying to exploit artists. Rant aside, that leads me to today, where I finally get to try Clip Studio Paint. I was lucky enough to snag the professional version for about 90% off of retail price, and so far I really like the program. While Photoshop is of course good for editing photos and coming up with graphic design posters and whatnot, I feel like Clip Studio Paint is more suited towards artists. While I'm still a giga noob for digital art, I think I already like Clip Studio Paint's interface a lot more than Photoshop. From my perspective, I feel like the UI is a lot easier to get into. I feel like in Photoshop you're pretty much dropped in and you don't exactly know how everything works unless you follow a guide, and even then it doesn't always give you clear answers. I felt from the very moment that I launched the program that I could just start drawing and didn't have to worry about changing certain settings or whatnot. I'm a type of artist to sort of work off the cuff. I don't like to spend a lot of time preparing certain things. I just like to get right into it, so that was quite nice. While I've only been using the program for a couple days now, I do also think I like the brushes here a lot more as well. Another personal gripe about Photoshop that I have is that I felt like their preset brushes weren't exactly the most responsive. I don't know if it was me or the program that I was using, or it could have just been me recording, but it felt like there was a lag between the input of me actually making a stroke on the page and the stroke actually appearing. The version of Clip Studio Paint that I got also came with over 100 brushes, but for now I'm just sticking with the default ones before I explore, and so far so good. I especially like the G Pen brush that I'm using for the line art here. I felt like on Photoshop there wasn't really a good preset option for a line art brush. Even with me tweaking the settings, the line art always felt a bit floppy or too textured for my liking. I feel like here it has a nice medium to it. While this is just a quick sketch here, I felt more in control about my line art here than I would have on Photoshop. And I'm not even using a stabilizer here. What I also like about Clip Studio Paint is the many free resources that they have. Although it's technically not an open source program, it certainly feels like way with the community. While I haven't had time to browse through the whole catalog, I am interested in what I see, and even if I did have to pay a small fee, I know it's actually going to support a real life artist and not some AI machine. Of course, I had to throw in another dig about Adobe and their business practices. Even Clip Studio Paint's Twitter account also constantly posts art tips and tutorials, which is also very awesome. Again, Adobe does not really do that. They also feature artists almost constantly, so that's another plus about the company themselves. The program itself almost feels like a forum for artists who have questions and concerns, or those who just want to share their own artwork. Now in the bundle that I purchased, I got a 12-month license to Clip Studio Paint, but if you want to avoid subscription prices, you can buy it outright for around $60 USD, including tax. Also, if you do make an account with Clip Studio Paint, you get to use Clip Studio Pro for free for 1 month as a free trial. The subscription plan varies depending on how many devices you plan to use the software with. The cheapest plan that I saw was around $8.99 to $9 USD. Still much cheaper than Photoshop itself, which comes in around $20 per month. The premium plan for Clip Studio Paint runs around $15 USD by comparison. If you're someone who mainly focuses on artwork and drawing, I do think Clip Studio Paint is the better option. At least if you're not ready to commit to Photoshop prices and policies. While I'm sure you can do some basic graphic designs on Clip Studio Paint, it might not be the best if you're a graphic designer. If you're looking for a step up from Krita, I definitely think that Clip Studio Paint is a decent option for it. So to sum it all up, I like the fact that Clip Studio Paint does seem to be a lot more community focused. I like the look and feel of the default brushes here. And even though it is a subscription based program now, the price is actually quite reasonable. Now take what I say with a grain of salt, because as I said, I'm still quite a beginner when it comes to digital art, but from what I see, I think I like it more as an alternative to Photoshop, and it feels a lot more beginner friendly. I'll likely make a follow-up video at some point, maybe 6 months into me using Clip Studio Paint, to see if I still have the same opinion, what I like and don't like. So if you're interested in that, then leave a like, as well as a subscribe. If you happen to be an artist, leave a comment down below about what software you use, and why you like it. Obviously, each digital artist will have their own workflow, and that mainly depends on the programs that they use, so no two artists is going to be the exact same. I'm only speaking from my perspective. If I had the choice, I likely would have stuck with Clip Studio first, but I was given the chance to use Photoshop. I guess I can also take the opportunity in this video to talk about my future plans regarding my content, because a few days ago I made a video talking about streaming, and I do eventually want to do live streams. For me, the biggest factor is lack of time and of course resources with my own computer. Between running OBS or Stream Elements and my VTuber model, that already takes a chunk out of my computer resources, and I haven't exactly worked on a plan for streaming, but since I got Clip Studio Paint, I think I might do a few test streams in the near future. While my channel is mainly art focused, I would likely also play games on my live streams as well. I'm still in a weird experimental phase with my channel, and I'm not quite sure which direction that I want to go in. I like art, but I also like gaming. I want this to be a place where I can express my own interests, even if that's not the best way to grow. I'm thinking the goal might be to do art streams here on YouTube and more variety stuff on Twitch. But I'm just spitballing. I don't even know if my computer can handle 2 live streams at once. I mean, I briefly did live streams on Twitch, but nothing too crazy, maybe like 20 to 30 minutes at a time. And even then, that was just me fumbling around with settings and seeing what worked on my computer. This was before I even had my VTuber model. I haven't even tried it ever since. That said, if I do figure out the whole streaming setup and overlay stuff, I will likely make an announcement here on YouTube, as well as on Twitter. My socials will be linked down below in the description. So yeah, as far as that's concerned, that was my mini announcement. I'll have another one soon, hopefully. But yeah, I just wanted to get my ideas out there. Even if I can't stream, I still want to start to work on 2 videos per week instead of 1. I think maybe 1 video with my VTuber model and 1 without, since the 1 without takes a lot less time to edit. A friend of mine recently made themselves a personal website, so I think that's my next major goal that I want to tackle next. I think that might be the next video that I make after this one. I currently use Carrd as my website, but there's some limitations since I have the free version, and I kinda do want to move on because I feel like I've grown past it. But that's neither here nor there, so for now, enjoy the rest of the video, and take care. Bye!